been an exciting day so far. Tons of valuable information. Having Daniel speaking about who is Herbie and the bottlenecks, really like that approach, as well as the traffic jam equals utilization levels. Complete inspiring thoughts here. Having Tim presenting approach about planning cycles, really interesting stuff, as well as Donna again nailed it with an easy to adapt approach on strategic portfolio management, and Bodo emphasizing the need of demand management and capacity planning during demand management, and what is just the perfect bridge over to this presentation. And it's a joint presentation, as you already heard. Elmar is on the line, and I'm very excited to share our insights of the project and how we transformed Deloitte's PPM to resource portfolio management. And it's all about getting more done faster while having satisfied employees. And again, my name is Marc Neckermann. For those didn't see the first presentation of mine, if you have any questions, you want to reach out to me or Elmar, please feel free. We can continue the conversation after the conference too. So our agenda for today. Today, of course, we want to show you how one of the most successful resource management and resource portfolio management implementation went, what the concrete success factors have been here. And yes, being a consultant for a decade in that area, and specifically resource management, I can say there are two key success factors. One is the process first, and the other one is the right tool. And this is why we chose exactly that approach for our today's presentation. So I will explain the PPM process we established in order to then successfully implement Tempest Resource with its governance and change management and all these structures. And Elmar is going to show you dashboards and cockpits and show you for what and how the team here concretely uses the valuable data out of Tempest Resource for, and then he will give us a little glimpse of what Deloitte is going to have as a next goal on their roadmap, because the roadmap never ends here, obviously, as the times are changing all the time. So again, this is nothing about a tool presentation, but for those that might be interested in seeing Tempest in action on today's underlying use cases we are going to present, I thought it's a good idea to offer quick web sessions for anyone who's interested to see more. Just shoot me a mail and propose a date or time. Happy to do that. And yeah, let's get started with a brief introduction, and I will hand it over to you quickly, Elmar, and then take over from there.
Okay. Yeah, hello to the audience. My name is Elmar Lotz. So I'm from the Deloitte, Germany, and I'm working in the IT department of the Deloitte. And for those who don't know Deloitte, we are one of the big four in audit, consulting, risk advisory, financial advisory, and around the world in 150 countries present with, I think now some more than 312,000 professionals. In Germany, we have at the moment something around, I think, 9,500 at the moment professionals. And our growth the last years was really big. So as you see, we had an average growth last years about 21% per year. And that's, really, that also has a really big impact to our IT department. And because we do not grow in those measures, but all businesses has more business for them and more projects for us, and somehow we have to manage that. I do not know. That's okay. So, and how do we try to manage this? So we try to get in a partnership with our businesses. So on the left side, we have businesses who are bringing up their initiatives, projects, demands, cases to us. And also we have other internal departments like Chief Information Officer Department, Data Privacy, legal departments who are from which we are part, or they also are part of this construct. And yeah, on the left side, it's on the right side is our IT department with our CIO, the CIO office, operating lines or areas, and on the right side, and the strategic and managing areas on the left with, yeah, also my part. I'm the portfolio manager, the demand managers, relationship managers, and so on. And yeah, this combination, we try to manage all our initiatives and operatings and our activities. And yeah, this is the current collaboration model in this case. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Elmar. I will hand it over to you later, and so you can, switch the slides by yourself, but it was easier that way for these 3 slides. So I will take over from now. So Valkeen, as I already said, at noon, 1 p.m., is a PPM consulting firm. We offer process change and tool consulting all around PPM. And as I said, resource management is the division and dimension I'm myself very passionate about. And I said already that the level of maturity is on average very low in this area, in this specific area. And I promised to give you some reasons for that. And here they are. First of all, one thing is really difficult in that area is the tool, and the other one is the lack of awareness in many organizations. Why is the tool market a problem or a reason for a low level of maturity? Because common PPM tools, as I know them, they do not really support critical resource management capabilities. The reason is because they initially have been developed to do single project management, multi-project management, then they grew to be project portfolio management solution. Tempest Resource started the other way around, what makes it pretty unique on the market compared to the other ones. And the other one is still, I see a lot of times, a lack of resource management awareness. And this is something I'm still not really getting, because as we've seen throughout the entire conference today, PPM has only 2 basic means to be balanced, and this is budget and resources. So these are only the 2 things you have. So organizations tend often to neglect resource management, and every organization knows pretty good about business cases and budgets, but only a few know who is working on what, have what skills, and works there for how long. And I want to show you this slide. This is the only one I'm using twice today, because I need this one for all those guys didn't see the presentation earlier today, and I need this for the starting point at Deloitte. And this describes the typical situation when we start implementing resource portfolio management. For many organizations, project assignments of resources equals resource transparency, but this is only the tip of the iceberg when we speak about resource transparency. What lies in the blindfold often is base capacity, net capacity, absences, business as usual, plan versus actual, as we heard so many times today, not to control, but to do a proper forecasting, primary roles, secondary roles, team assignments in an agile environment. And for an optimized resource management, you really need to have 100% 360-degree picture of your resources and zero tolerance policy on blindfolds, especially for bottlenecks. You don't have to do that for every resource in your company, but especially for those being limited in terms of capacity. Your resources are the true critical path, in my opinion, and somehow as well an investment plan of your entire portfolio. So again, in my opinion, resource management carries a high potential for gaining true business agility, as I outlined earlier today, and to prepare for the new work order. But let's get to Deloitte now. The starting point, then I will show you the approach and the benefits. We start with the challenges, but one thing, there is a little guy here in the middle. I wanted to display a unique thing here at Deloitte when we started to implement resource management. There was already an awareness for a centralized resource management unit within the IT. There was a governance body. So this is something you don't find very often, or I don't find very often, but the awareness as well from the top management was there already. So to the real challenges, the real world challenges, demand quantity. The demand quantity doubled compared to the previous year. And with the growing number of demands, of course, the demand complexity was rising. So we observed the shift from pure implementation projects over to sustainable programs with a high degree of specialization. And with that, of course, IT resources became more limited and scarce, and lots of bottlenecks, especially in the IT, led to project shifts unwillingly. And Elmar mentioned the growth rate within the IT. We talk about 25% roughly per year. What is a growth rate? That's hard to manage, and that's a tough job. So this is another challenge too. And of course, my two key success factors, process and tool landscape. The process was kind of not really unified, not adapted by everyone. The resource planning process was not really integrated, and late feasibility assessment on roles and generics often led to unplanned cost and even distortions of the entire portfolio. Tool landscape. At the moment, 2017, when we started, the team had MS Project Server in place, what had low user acceptance and what wasn't really suitable for resource management purposes. And the need for scenario analysis was already identified. So this was the situation at that time. But of course, before MS Project Server, there is a history as well. We already had someone asking the question to Tim from Helvetia. What? No, was it? I think it was Tim. Yeah. What kind of tool did you use before Tempest Resource? Here we had, first of all, in 2013, MS Excel, just spreadsheet. There was still no business as usual, projects only, no timesheet. And you remember, that's why I showed you the picture of the iceberg. That was just the tip of the iceberg. In 2014, the team established a first resource planning process with a dedicated solution in SharePoint. First roles and skill matrix was drafted, but still no business as usual, no timesheet. But the need for scenario planning and scenario analysis was identified. It was a huge effort to do that, obviously. And then in 2016, the team switched over to MS Project Server. First time business as usual was included in the database, and timesheet was developed, but still in 2017, low user acceptance, and scenario analysis was a hell of a work, obviously. So the options, what to do? We can continue to grow with a growing number of demands, but this is not really an option when having 25% growth rate already. Continue further and outsource, not an option with a high degree of specialization. So we need to optimize the resource utilization. And I'm not speaking about having everyone on 100%, as Daniel outlined. It's something different here. In concrete terms, become more efficient, faster, and better, and avoid traffic jams. But how? The PPM roadmap at Deloitte was committed to 1 year and defined by really clear targets when we met. Increase efficiency of resource utilization, improve speed and response time, process and prioritization optimization, and the tool landscape had to be optimized, meeting the current requirements. So when we first met, we did a POC, a proof of concept with Tempest Resource, and what is interesting to know for those guys that don't know Tempest Resource, besides a drag and drop spreadsheet connector where you simply just drag and drop your spreadsheet onto Tempest Resource, Tempest Resource offers plug and play connectors to various PPM solutions such as MS Project Server, of course. So we were able to interface Tempest Resource. I remember that call because I was so impressed. It was like 15 or 20 minutes and we had all the data from MS Project Server over in Tempest, and the team immediately could start just testing, doing scenario simulation and all that. And after less than 14 days of testing, it was clear if we proceed with another tool, it should be Tempest Resource. But process first, of course, in order to derive a proper process, we had to involve stakeholders first. And therefore, we conducted interviews with representative stakeholders, project managers, team leads, and so on. And one thing I have to emphasize here, as there isn't any other PPM dimension affecting more stakeholders than resource management, change management, and specifically cultural change management is key here, definitely. I come to this point in a minute. Then, based on the outcomes of pain points, feedbacks, we designed a two-stage process for all initiatives, incorporated the demand factory, and defined an approach for fast tracks to gain speed, to have more happy clients, of course, and better time to market, and a new prioritization approach. Then, after that, the process was designed. We chose an iterative approach for the implementation of Tempest Resource. That wasn't a big bang thing, but continuously and simultaneously optimizing both the process and the tool at the same time. And what I'm going to do now is to guide you through these 3 steps in more detail. First of all, stakeholder change management. We conducted, and as you know, for a change, the affected need to become involved, especially in resource management. And I conducted as an external interview with PMs, team leads, PMO, PPM, resource manager, highly efficient. Why? Each was done in 30 minutes, and it was anonymous, meaning everyone could speak completely freely. So the findings in regards to, of course, again, 2 key specifics of success factors, process and tool. The first one, process related, was reported to be too complicated. It takes too much time, unclear responsibilities, difficult coordination, and lack of communication base. The tool related ones were showed bad usability for project and resource planning, low motivation for timesheet tracking, and bad transparency, and a lack of a centralized database, what connects the dots here between process and the tool. So all of these findings sum up clearly not the best foundation to gain more speed and efficiency. But we took those pain points and findings in order to, and they helped us a lot to define and design a 2-stage process just based on best practices, but as well on exactly that pain points. Let's get to the process. The process here on top is first of all the one pretty common in many organizations, and it is sufficient for low quantity of demands, and therefore it worked for quite a long time. So someone is just gathering basic information, gets an approval, then he goes over to a detailed plan. This can take up to 3, 6, maybe more time, a month, sorry. And then right before execution, the team or the project manager realizes that there aren't enough FTEs available. as well Tim already outlined, if they had everything in spreadsheets and simply just screaming around, I want them, yeah, you get those people and so on. That's nothing for a high quantity of demands flying in the funnel. So we need to avoid this with high quantity of demands. Therefore, we designed this two-stage process with the first and the second planning phase. Here, we just gathered the information which are necessary in order to approve. And you remember my generic roadmap, you prioritize not only on business cases and on KPIs, but as well on the feasibility and check if this possible, if this project is possible and feasible or not. And you can do this on generic resources and teams on a rough plan, and you don't have to go into much detail, but then you get an approval and a commitment already on generics, and then you go into your very lots of effort second planning stage in related to task, named resources, and then you go towards execution. So only approve what is feasible. That's the basic idea and philosophy of the process. Let's have a look at the process for Deloitte. We designed this an original Deloitte slide describing the process, and I will guide you now through the 4 major specifics of this process. First, one process for all initiatives, meaning whatever thing needs money and capacity, if it's a change, if it's a demand, if it's a project or business as usual, everything has to follow this process. Otherwise, it won't work. Second specific of the process, two-stage, as I already described. So during evaluation and a rough plan on generic resources, when going over to a simulation scenario analysis, checking for feasibility, building a portfolio scenario, handing it over to the top management, what is called operational committee at Deloitte, and they approve a scenario. And with that scenario, you go into a detailed planning phase, meaning you switch over from generic resources over to named resources. And the team here, or the operational committee, not only approves a scenario, but with every project as well, a specific kind of a threshold, meaning in time, scope, and budget, and capacities. So it's quite common that during detailed planning phase, you realize, oh my goodness, I forgot some FTEs on something. Of course, all good with that. Therefore, we have a second checkpoint in order to go back to another detailed planning phase or back to simulation in order to get a reapproval from the operational committee. Third specific of this process, fast tracks. An optimized priority process and predefined characteristics such as size, length, and impact enabled the team to process demands with a high impact on clients much faster. So what I'm saying is, as soon as a demand is classified as a fast track, it will be directly processed into the detailed planning phase. That gained a lot of speed here. Fourth specific is called demand factory. Reason why having a demand factory, I get into this in a bit more of a detail because I think this is very valuable for you too. Because when I implement such a process, I often get asked, Mark, how can we ensure that within the first planning phase, we have a robust plan for generic resources, for example, because our project request or project manager aren't able to do that at the moment. So in order to support both sides, the project requester and another team, what is called the demand factory, we incorporated this virtual team of trusted advisors. And this is a win-win situation for both sides because the members of the demand factory, you see them on the other slide here, are pretty interested in being involved at the very beginning, in a very early stage of a demand. because I interviewed some of these guys too. So this is incorporated already in the process. So an enterprise architecture, security, financials, and so on. Many times I heard, we hear of a demand way too late, when it's already too late to raise our hand and claim redundancy or see synergies or whatever. So there is definitely a benefit for both sides, and the demand factory, made it happen that the plan of generics was much more robust at this point. So we have a core team and a case-by-case team. What differs just in demand, what kind of demand we have. The demand factory, I don't go into detail of this. Between initiation and stage 1 approval, we have an evaluation and a planning phase, and the demand factory does here, they filter misrouted demands, do rudimentary requirements analysis, do risk assessment, and most importantly, they help with the resource planning in order to get to simulation and what ifs and so on and get the first stage approval. So this process and this entire process design serves as a baseline for the implementation. And instead of just implementing Tempest Resource within a big bang, as I said, we chose this iterative approach with a role concept implementation. And I could easily speak about role concepts as well for maybe half an hour. But one thing I can maybe give you regarding generic roles, what we heard quite a lot of these during today's conference. The ideal quantity of generic roles should be somewhere between 5 and 20% of your current resource pool size. Otherwise, it's getting too complicated, and if you take less than that, it's not really worth the effort. So, but we leave this for another time. So, Tempest Resource was integrated in the existing tool landscape via a REST API, what is open. Everyone or Deloitte themselves integrate Tempest Resource in the existing tool environment via the API and a DB exporter, what enables the team to just plug and play any BI solution. In this case, it was at the beginning a SQL Server, SRS reporting, where we now switch over to Power BI. But let's make this journey here. This graph displays not only the tool environment, but as well the demand life cycle. And the demand journey here is starting in ServiceNow, which is a great service management tool. And for Deloitte, a great customer front end for the business units to just gather information and basic information about the demand. But of course, ServiceNow had to be evaluated when the team was looking for a resource PPM solution towards PPM and resource management. But to save you some time, guys, ServiceNow is not a resource management solution. It's great for service management. And there isn't one size fits all out there anymore, in my opinion, especially when it comes to a highly complex discipline like resource management. But of course, here could be any other system like a PPM tool like PlanView, CA, Clarity, you name it, all possible. And then this in ServiceNow, gather basic information, and then over to Tempest Resource, what serves as a single source of truth again here, where we do the resource planning, the project planning, and the scheduling, capacity management, allocations, scenario simulation, over to the second approval phase. And then during execution, there are additional documents to be found in kind of a SharePoint, solution design, cost calculation, whatever the team needs here in addition to Tempest Resource. And then over to the BI solution, reporting solution. And Elmar is going to show you a lot of dashboards and cockpits for the top management. And therefore, I won't get into too much detail, just emphasizing there is this DB exporter, what connects every BI solution to Tempest Resource pretty easily. And that was what even Daniel from Lotz was displaying earlier today. So let's get to the harvest of this PPM roadmap. Thanks to an optimized process and resource transparency through Tempest Resource, Deloitte achieved to complete more than twice as many projects as the year before. The team gained a lot of more speed and saved up to 70% of times conducting fast tracks and a new priority process. Concentrating on the essential, you remember the speech of Daniel, the traffic jam utilization level? Yeah, that's the point, measured here by Deloitte too. The rate of demands in progress versus in pipeline raised from 30 to 50%. Simulate instead of react. So simply put, just having answers right away. Any shift of projects, products, whatever, markets, even the Corona crisis, crisis management. Maybe Elmar will give us some additional information on that. Helps a lot. Besides these major benefits here, we have other ones. The ITS became regarded as professional service partner and not just a cost center, just because of the high level of maturity and the ability to make things visible. Maximum user acceptance, planning and timesheet. We have a strategic HR plan just as a side product, because you see where it's red on what kind of roles, and you can go even into a named resource and check for this corresponding skills. Cross-divisional, cross-location resource utilization as well something. There are so many ways of silos these days. They've been in the line organization, matrix organization, now shifting from projects to products, having product silos, teams as silos, everywhere, the potential of silos. A centralized resource database enables to overcome all of these silos, because then it's possible for, especially for peaks, to just take resources from other division or other locations. And we will speak about future goals here later too. And compile it with ISO standards, high management attention via Power BI dashboards, and we have set a new standards for global IT and business with that level of maturity and business agility, of course, as I mentioned in my previous presentation earlier today. And I didn't speak about this slide with Elmar in detail. I hope he's not killing me with that one, but I thought it's a good idea to refer to the generic roadmap I was showing you earlier, where roughly on this kind of a guideline Deloitte is. So they clearly done a lot in these steps here in operative and strategic RPM elements already. Now optimizing further a skill matrix, having a real HR plan on skills, working on motivation to derive a dynamic skill strategy very soon. So I will hand over now to you, Elmar, but yeah, I need to ask you, Greg, can you make Elmar the presenter very quickly, so it's easier for him to? Awesome, thank you.
You betcha.
Okay, then I try. I hope. Screen.
Yeah, we see the screen already. Now it's gone. Now we see notes.
Okay,
Now, there you go. That looks beautiful. Yeah, just the slide.
Okay. So what do you see now? Because it's so.
Yeah, we just see the slide. So not the presenter mode, but just the simple slide. And
it's perfect.
That's much it. So just perfect for continuing. And Elmar, one thing before you kick off with your slides, I wanted to ask you something too, just besides our topic. How did you at Deloitte experience the recent COVID crisis and remote work challenges, demand quantities with that, coming with that? And did your RM or resource management maturity and the tool and help you within that crisis?
So we do not have the problem to switch to remote work because, yeah, and of course we as IT department really work remote also in the past for the last years. That was not our biggest challenge, but what helps us with resource management is to get scenarios and what if analysis if a team would be ill or the resources are not available in a short time, and helps us to understand where we have our bottlenecks, what we have to do in a case that one of our bottleneck resources is not available, and so on. And so that's so in this cases we use our tool landscape and Tempest Resource. And I think I will show it to you, can show it to you in the next slides.
Awesome.
With my screenshots, then you see what I mean. Yeah, thank you, Marc, for the introduction. And I think, yeah, I will give all the audience a better understanding of the measurable benefits you talked about, and some good examples how we had, or we now yeah, manage this and how we work with these things. So, yeah, my first slides showing the scenario analysis modeling in Tempest Resource, and yeah, it directly shows you the capacities and availability of resources in two ways. So on the upper side we had a heat map, so you see how utilized and available the resources are. In deep red they are overbooked, and on the cool map you can see which resources may be available, underbooked, and so on. So if you have a blue cell, the resources are not utilized in that moment. So and we are using that to see quickly which teams, resources, staff is available or not to manage our projects, to give answers about starting points of projects and so on. And this is a good way to manage your portfolio in based on the resources. Yeah, and then you have dashboards and reports about utilization rates for the last 3 months and so on. And all this data is out of Tempest, and we use it. And with Tempest and this profilation, we get to the point that we are, you mentioned it, Marc, a strategic partner and not more a cost center, which is our ITS strategy, to be integrated in the revenue and added value of the businesses. And I go on, and it looks like the same, and that is our scenario planning, opportunity maps. Also, that in the case you get a new project, you are really fast in to clarify which starting points of projects you have, which projects you have to shift maybe to start a new high prioritized projects. And that you can already do in live views. You can show it to your management in real time and show them what you have to do to start or to stop a project, what happens in this case. And we use that in our, yeah, as Marc called, operations committee, to show our executive what happens if. So we make what if scenarios. We are building different alternative models to show opportunities. What projects or which projects have to be shifted in that or this case, and what you have to change. And what I always mentioned also to my team, what's really good is this is, we don't change any live data. These are copies. Yeah, I call this copies of the live data. But if you shift or stretch a project in the scenario planning, you do not have an impact on your live data. You have to put it in after that, and that's make it so fast to show different opportunities. Next slide. When we do that, or the first step, and already mentioned from others today, was a management dashboard of our portfolio to show our executives and management how professional we are working already, and we do not have any internal department yet that have such dashboards. And all the data you see here, like a number of demands and the KPIs and the reports, is also from our point of truth, Tempest integrated, and this is at the moment, as Marc mentioned, an SQL reporting service connector, and at the moment we are switching to Power BI, and this shows our management how professional we are working and that we can be, as our goal is, treated business partner and no cost center. And that helps us really much to manage our portfolio and to give the big transparency about our working and our projects. And as you see here, behind this cockpit, we have also some detailed slides that shows the changing of numbers and the distribution over the year, and you can see trends and can work with these trends and how you can manage maybe trends that are not so good. And what we also have based on the portfolio management dashboard is so-called business dashboard. So for every business line, our relationship manager has also their own dashboards based on the portfolio dashboards, but with specific numbers of the business line, like here tax and legal. So audit, we have also this dashboard, and there you can really manage this business owned portfolio. So and what I forget to mention, we are speaking here about IT projects, so where we have to be involved. There are no more and more projects that already impacted our clients and customers, but most of them are really internal and are, for example, building servers where the consultants can do development and so on. So this is a live dashboard. This is live dashboards in our intranet. Everybody in our German member firm can has access every time to it. But what we also do is we are transfer this data from the dashboard in more detailed reports, and these are then prepared in PowerPoint. And like here, you see the effort drivers by business, so which projects, also operating activities are in here, and which business needs the most effort from the ITS in this case, and how this is distributed. And this, and another one is here, distribution by priority by business, and the effort also in this case. So we are using the data from Tempest in different kind of ways to get the best transparency and decisions from our business, or our executives. So this is really helpful to give them the correct numbers, transparency to make decisions of portfolio projects, financials, and so on. And this is another one. So as I told, and Marc also mentioned, is we are trying to be a partner of our businesses and trying also spend time or our effort into client projects, not only cost center. And as you see, overall the ITS, so we have 3 categories, beginning from lean IT, which is normal operating IT tasks, like managing the data center, managing laptops, software, and so on. We have business enablement tasks that is also a kind of managing infrastructure, but this is needed that because our businesses have to do their business on clients. So, and we have the business integration, where, for example, we are really with IT teams on projects with clients and so on. And as you see, yeah, we are really good in this, because only 40% are really normal, as you know, IT effort or working. The rest is really doing business or for our businesses. And this shows us, this is another way to, or another slide that shows the same in a little bit different way. And that helps really a lot. And then we have a last thing that I want to show. We had the last months from April on something around 80 new initiatives or demands incoming. This is such a high level for us as IT department. Last year we had a average from something around 10 new initiatives per month, and this year that was 20. So we doubled this income of new initiatives in the last month. And that was the point where our management said, come on, we have to reduce it, because no running or lying projects were closed at that moment. So our portfolio grows and grows and grows and we do not have the chance to stop it. And then we try to consolidate, or we and also the businesses get the work to consolidate the whole portfolio. And then we use the data from Tempest to show what we can defer, deny, what we have to keep, and make a recommendation to our executive. And as you see, with our recommendation, we could reduce 27% of the portfolio and save up to 1 million euros at that point. Yeah, which is, in our case, really much. And the next slide shows then what happened with the man days within this. So we had a workload the months before around something around 120%. So we are the whole time overbooked running. And with this consolidation, if you summarize this for 1 year, we could save to 21 FTE, and that is really great impact to our IT organization, and yeah, we can show that with the data from Tempest what great impact or that is when we stop or deny or consolidate our portfolio.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Elmar. Yeah, we are running a little bit out of time for in regards of the future goals. So we still need to have a break before the next session. The future goals are, like always, go further, go deeper, be better with the processes and the methods of one thing is for sure, user acceptance is key. You have to work on that every day. Skill management is the next thing we are going to approach here. Business units are now starting to adapt what the IT did just for their department. So this is great stuff too. And global RPM is the next approach regards to, remember, cross-divisional, cross-locational resource utilization. The idea is to do it globally and to utilize resources on a global level and take care of peaks, overutilization, and have a common resource pool. This is the next goal. And thank you very much, Elmar. Was awesome to see from the very inner circle of Deloitte, all the dashboards and cockpits and how the benefit really has been measured. Thank you for that. And I will hand it over to you, Greg.